the Chinese hero of the Korean War, Huang Jiguang. The Korean War is often overshadowed by the Second World War and other conflicts of the 20th century, which has given the conflict the unfortunate moniker of the Forgotten War. While both North and South Korea and their allies fought fiercely for control of the Korean peninsula, heroes emerged on both sides of the conflict, and no matter what uniform they wore, their deeds are worthy of remembrance. Huang Jiguang was born on January 18, 1931, in Zhangjiang County in the Sichuan province in central China, the son of poor farmers in the rural countryside. Little is known of his childhood or upbringing, but what is known is that he was raised in a tumultuous time in Chinese history. In 1927, civil war broke out between the Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party, plunging the nation into 2 decades of brutal war. To compound the already chaotic situation further, in 1937, the ever-expanding Empire of Japan also invaded the country. After the Japanese were defeated and driven out of China in 1945, the Civil War continued to rage until 1949, when the Communist Party emerged victorious. A year later, in 1950, Chinese forces entered the ongoing conflict in Korea, throwing their weight behind their fellow communist North Korean allies in their struggle against the UN-backed South Korea adversaries. In March of 1951, Huang Jiguang joined the People's Volunteer Army, an expeditionary force of the People's Liberation Army that was sent to Korea, and was sent to the fighting shortly after. During this stage of his military career, he proved himself to be a capable and resilient soldier who earned recognition for his abilities. His first assignment was to act as a runner, a task for which he excelled, earning commendation for his efforts, earning the Meritorious Service Third Class Award. In late 1952, the United Nations forces began Operation Showdown, a major offensive into North Korea, hoping to gain an advantage during peace negotiations, which were breaking down. It was hoped that a major victory would force the North Koreans and the Chinese back to the table under more advantageous conditions. 2 divisions, supplemented by heavy support from the U.S. Air Force, would launch an incursion into the Iron Triangle, a vital junction of Chinese and North Korean communications. The Chinese forces quickly sent reinforcements to blunt the UN offensive, dispatching the 15th Corps, which Huang's unit was attached to, as well as the 12th Corps. The bulk of the fighting occurred at what was called Triangle Hill, officially designated as Hill 598 by the Americans and their allies, and known to the Chinese as Shanganling, a forested piece of high ground that roughly resembled a V when viewed from above, with a pair of ridge lines extending out from it. Adjacent to Triangle Hill was another piece of high ground dubbed Sniper Ridge. Both of these locations would be the main objective for the American-led UN advance. On October 14th, the battle began and would see some of the fiercest fighting of the Korean War. After an intense aerial bombardment, the UN forces advanced behind the screen of a sustained rolling barrage from hundreds of artillery pieces. All but the deepest dug-in Chinese positions were obliterated, and the lines of communication between their forces were cut, throwing the PLA troops into disarray. Still, they fought fiercely, holding every inch of ground with stubborn determination. The attacking UN troops were met with a hail of gunfire, as well as a wide array of explosives, including hand grenades, Bangalore torpedoes, shaped charges, and whatever else was at hand. When these limited stocks of munitions were depleted, they resorted to throwing rocks at the advancing enemies. In spite of their desperate efforts, the Chinese lines on both Sniper Ridge and Triangle Hill were being pushed back. Sniper Ridge would eventually be captured by UN forces. The situation was different on Triangle Hill. Hey there, Simple History fans. I've got something special, so hang on. It's not just a collectible, it's a piece of history right on your desk. This little guy right here may look like a World War II hero, and that's because he is. It's crafted with the utmost attention to detail. He's our US World War II soldier. You know, creating historical animations takes passion, dedication, and of course, your support. And that's where this little figurine comes in. Every purchase of this limited-time U2's figure directly supports our ability to bring more fascinating stories from the past to life. It's like having a piece of history right on your desk, reminding you of the incredible journey we've been on together. But here's the thing. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's available for pre-order, and once that window closes, it's gone forever. This is your chance to own a unique limited edition piece that will never return. So don't wait, secure your piece of history, support our mission, and let this little figure be your daily reminder of the incredible stories we share together. Head over to our website, which you can find in the description or in the pinned comment right now, to place your pre-order and make history with us. Own a piece of the past and shape the future of simple history. Thank you for being part of our journey. Though they suffered heavy casualties, Chinese forces at the apex of Triangle Hill managed to withstand the onslaught, and the attackers' momentum was stalled. Taking advantage of the reprieve, on October 19th, the commander of the 15th Corps ordered a counterattack. Liu Litai, a member of Huang Jiguang's unit, recalls the heavy fighting he encountered as they made their advance against the UN troops, who were also heavily dug in, stating, quote, "The machine guns swept across our trenches. I laid low every time I heard machine gun fire. They were pointed right at us. I ran that way. I avoided being shot in the head by just one step. The shrapnel sliced through my arm and my shoulder." End quote. The key objectives of the Chinese counterattack were a series of blockhouses and other fixed emplacements. Though low on ammunition and explosives, they pressed on, capturing several of the positions. According to Liu Litai, Huang Jiguang was at the enemy forefront, using one of the remaining Bangalore torpedoes to help destroy an enemy blockhouse. In spite of this initial success, their advance was halted by a fortified blockhouse that was designated Position 0. Fire from this location was so intense that any attack against it ended in failure. In order to continue the assault, a demolition team of 3 men was called up. The hastily assembled plan was incredibly simple. The 3 men would close with the blockhouse and destroy it with explosives, allowing the rest of the pinned men to continue their push into the enemy lines. Huang Jiguang was one of these 3. As the 3 made their way to Position 0, they came under heavy fire. One of the men with Huang was killed outright. The other one was badly wounded and unable to continue. Knowing his comrades were relying on him to succeed, Huang pressed on alone, closing to within 15 meters of the objective. Once there, he threw his last grenade, hoping to destroy the blockhouse. Instead of destroying it, however, the grenade fell short before it detonated, covering the firing slit with debris, obstructing the field of fire for the men at the machine gun. With a lull in the firing, the rest of Huang's company rushed forwards. Before they could close with the enemy, however, the blockhouse defenders managed to clear the obstructions and resumed their firing. A number of the advancing company were killed, and the attack was once again stalling out. Seeing his fellow soldiers being cut down, Huang once again leapt into action. He shouted something to his fellow soldiers, though the words were drowned out by the deafening gunfire and explosions. He then rushed forwards and threw himself onto the slit, blocking it with his own body and preventing the machine gun inside from firing on his comrades. His sacrifice was not in vain. For a few precious moments, with the firing slit obstructed with Huang's body, Position 0's gun was silent. With this linchpin of their defense temporarily out of action, his fellow soldiers were able to close with and destroy the blockhouse. In some accounts, Huang's actions are directly attributed to a 1947 Soviet war movie, Private Alexander Matrosov, which is based on the real-life exploits of Soviet soldier Alexander Matrosov. Matrosov performed a similar action, obstructing a German pillbox with his body in 1943, allowing his fellow Red Army soldiers to advance. The fighting would rage around Triangle Hill for several weeks afterwards. In total, the battle for Triangle Hill would rage for 42 days. Reported casualty figures vary wildly depending on the side, but all agree that the numbers were high. No matter the actual numbers, Operation Showdown was a failure for UN forces. For his heroism, Huang Jiguang would be posthumously awarded the title of Combat Hero Second Class, which would be upgraded to Combat Hero Special Class, and was also given membership to the Communist Party. Huang's North Korean allies would confer on him the title of Hero of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, a Gold Star Medal, and a First-Class Medal of National Flag. Huang Jiguang is virtually unknown outside of China, though within the country he is a national hero. His actions were immortalized on propaganda posters and has become a symbol of self-sacrifice and dedication to duty. Today, the headquarters of the People's Liberation Army Air Force Airborne Corps, which was reorganized from the 15th Infantry Corps, of which Huang was part of, also has a memorial hall dedicated to this hero of China. No matter what uniform was worn or what flag they marched under, soldiers of all nations who participated in the Korean War fought with bravery, distinction, and self-sacrifice, and no matter the cause, are worthy of remembrance.